Many fans are calling WrestleMania 41 the worst WrestleMania since Mania 27, while others are going as far as to call it the worst WrestleMania of all time, and that Triple H should step down from booking. But what exactly made this show so disappointing? I mean, we had a historic title win, an epic return, and two insane triple threat matches. On paper, this sounds like an incredible show. But then, why is everyone so up in arms and labeling this show as a complete disaster? Was it actually that bad? Well, after rewatching the entire show and scouring the internet for fan reactions, I've found there are three key factors that caused this WrestleMania to fail so bad. So in this video, I'll show you exactly what those three factors are, and then we'll discuss if WrestleMania 41 was actually as bad as everyone is saying it was. If you've ever watched a movie, you know how crucial the opening scene is. It's the one that sets the tone for the entire experience. But if the opening scene is lackluster, it ruins the entire viewing experience no matter how strong the rest of the movie might be. And this was exactly the case with WrestleMania 41. Night 1 of WrestleMania 41 kicked off with Jey Uso versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, don't get me wrong, the match wasn't bad by any means. The in-ring action was decent. There were finisher spams. Gunther once again showcased his elite wrestling skills. Jey Uso had the crowd rocking. But the ending of the match certainly raised eyebrows and left fans scratching their heads. I mean, you had Gunther, this absolute monster, this guy who has been booked as an unstoppable force for the last 2 years, the man who dominated everyone from Sheamus to Randy Orton, tap out to a sleeper hold by Jey Uso within 5 seconds. There was no targeting of the neck throughout the match, no proper build-up to the submission, and the whole ending just felt a bit anticlimactic, which became a recurring theme for this show. The ring general deserved better, and fans who had invested in his dominant character felt cheated by such a quick submission. This rushed finish would plant the seeds for the downfall of Night 1. After the World Championship match, the next bout was New Day versus Viking Raiders for the tag titles. Once again, not a terrible match, but it wasn't just WrestleMania worthy. It felt like a mid-card contest at best that belonged on Raw and not on WrestleMania. And not just this match, almost every match except the main event of Night 1 just felt underwhelming. They didn't have that special WrestleMania feeling, that larger-than-life quality we've come to expect from the showcase of the Immortals, and it felt like we were just watching an episode of Raw with slightly better production. Add a dead crowd to the mix, and you've got a recipe for disappointment. The WrestleMania energy, the WrestleMania atmosphere were simply non-existent, and this hurt the entire show. But even then, the main event of Night 1 with its shocking ending managed to salvage some hope for Night 2. The unexpected twist had social media buzzing and momentarily rekindled excitement within the WWE universe. Maybe the show wouldn't be so bad after all. Maybe we'll get some surprises and big moments on Night 2 that'll redeem the show, everyone thought. But there was a key problem that would plague most matches of Night 2 and ultimately seal this WrestleMania's fate as one of the worst in history. You see, in pro wrestling, a match is only as good as its build. If the fans aren't emotionally invested, they simply won't care no matter how great the in-ring action is. And that was the problem with most matches on this card. The build for most of the feuds was mediocre at best, lacking the strong narratives that make fans desperate to see a payoff. I mean, you had John Cena's shocking heel turn at Elimination Chamber that had the entire wrestling world buzzing. It was genuinely one of the most unexpected moments in recent WWE history. It even brought back fans that had stopped watching back into the fold. Social media metrics went through the roof. The WWE Universe was excited for this new heel Cena. They expected a build as electric as Cody versus Reigns from the previous year, but instead what we got was one of the worst main event builds of all time. Weekly confrontations felt repetitive, promos fell flat, and the heat that should have been nuclear just fizzled. And not just the main event, the build for the women's title match that kicked off Night 1 was equally underwhelming, despite featuring 3 of the most talented performers on the roster. Every segment felt like a random brawl that went nowhere. Backstage attacks, contract signings, it all blended together without any meaningful escalation. It just didn't have the intensity or storytelling that makes wrestling special. The creative direction seemed to be, have them fight, rather than make us care why they're fighting. The only matches that had a decent build were the Night 1 triple threat main event and Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Apart from that, every other match suffered from lackluster storytelling, rushed feuds, or conflicts that simply didn't connect with the audience on an emotional level. But still, Night 2 was pretty promising at the start, giving fans hope that in-ring action might compensate for the weak build. The ladies put on a clinic in the opener and got the crowd fired up. For 15 minutes, it felt like WrestleMania again. We had a solid Intercontinental title match with all 4 men giving their absolute best. Dirty Dom emerged victorious and got a great crowd reaction. Drew and Priest beat the hell out of each other for the love of the game. delivering the kind of physical, hard-hitting contest that makes you remember why you became a wrestling fan. Plus, McIntyre's victory was a satisfying payoff for fans who had followed the storyline. And all in all, Night 2 was looking like a redemption, at least compared to Night 1. The show was building momentum, and fans were finally getting into the WrestleMania spirit. But during the second half of Night 2, something changed. While Night 2 started off hot, somewhere towards the middle, everything started to lose steam. I mean, you still had some solid moments, like Becky Lynch's return, but I think fans were expecting something bigger, like Rusev or Aleister Black returning as Randy Orton's opponent instead of Joe Hendry. Logan Paul versus AJ Styles was another letdown. The build to this match was almost non-existent, and the in-ring action wasn't anything spectacular. When Logan Paul first arrived in the WWE, he had a novelty factor. Fans were surprised with the moves he'd perform. But now that he's been with the company for almost half a decade, the novelty has worn off and his matches simply lack the spark they once had. But still, the show moved on, and we got to the main event. The stage was set, the fans were buzzing, and this was the money match. This match was going to decide the fate of the entire show. If it delivered, it would go down as one of the greats. But if it flopped, then it'd leave a stain on the entire weekend. And I think we all know by now which outcome we got. Cena versus Cody was solid, but to an extent. You had a hot crowd, Cena was leaning into his heel mannerisms, and Cody was trying to fight like an underdog, give that classic babyface performance. But once the ref bump happened, everything just fell apart. Once the ref went down, fans were expecting some kind of twist, like The Rock or Seth Rollins showing up to spice things up. But instead, we got none other than Travis freaking Scott. I mean, I get it. Triple H wants the mainstream attention for WWE. But this is the main event of WrestleMania we're talking about. You can't just have a celebrity walk out for the sake of it when he hasn't even been a consistent part of the build. The entire sequence with Travis Scott just felt out of place. Cody hit a crossroads, we got rid of the interference, and it felt like now we were finally going to get to the good part, right? Like now The Rock or Seth Rollins would come out and WrestleMania 41 would be saved. But no. Instead, Cena low blows Cody, hits him with the title belt, and gets the pin. Not even an attitude adjustment. Nothing. Just a belt shot, and it's over. Just like how the opening of a movie sets the tone, the ending is equally important. If you fumble the finish, it leaves a sour taste in the mouth, no matter how good the rest of the show was. And that was the biggest issue with WrestleMania 41. It had its moments, but the pacing, match placement, and some booking decisions just didn't land. But how bad was Mania 41 actually? Was it really the worst Mania of all time, like many fans are claiming? Was it worse than Mania 27? Personally, I don't think it was worse than Mania 27, but it will definitely go down as one of the top 10 worst WrestleManias of all time. The expectations were just way too high after the success of Mania 39 and 40, and 41 simply failed to deliver. It had bright spots, the Night 1 main event, the women's triple threat, a few cool returns and surprises, but when it came to the world title matches, Triple H just dropped the ball. Overall, I'd give WrestleMania 41 a 6 out of 10. But let me know what you think. What would you rate Mania 41 on a scale of 1 to 10? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.